Alrighty then. I'm here. I'm here. Um, I'm just waiting for my man Four Corner to pull up, and we're gonna start the festivities and chew the fat with my boy, man. He's a good brother. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't think of a better person to pop off the new channel with. And like I said, man, as soon as he gives me the 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 go sign, I'm gonna what's up, NH Native? What it do? Thank you for coming through. I'm gonna drop the link. I see my man. He's there. I'm gonna drop the link for him, and we're gonna get it started. Oh, hold up a second. My bad. I'm gonna do it like this. Okay. Alrighty then. All right. I'm gonna drop the link for you. Four corner, and we could begin this interview. There you go. This is actually the first interview on this with me starting this channel over. I'm gonna erase all the other videos and um, this is gonna be the first video. So I'm gonna erase a lot of them. I don't know about all of them, but I'm definitely gonna be. I wanna pop this channel off. If anybody's not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. There goes my boy. How am I sounding? Somebody give me a mic check. My brother.
Dub,
How am I sounding to you?
you sound good and clear on my end.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right. Let me
appreciate you.
let me lower the. What were you saying?
I appreciate you doing an interview on my channel and myself. It's an honor to be up here.
Thank you. It's an
Ever
honor to
since,
have you here.
you've known me, you've kept on saying it's an honor, but it's time to return the favor and honor your channel for having me as your first guest. I'm your first guest on this new channel, right?
Yes, you are.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
There is a slight echo, right? I hear it too.
I hear you clear on my
No,
end.
no, coming from your side.
On my end.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. See.
Do you have all the links closed, all the windows closed, all the tabs closed?
Um, so the echo's coming on my end, right?
Yeah.
I got my Bluetooth earpiece, and I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. Maybe you should set the earpiece. I don't hear it
All
now.
right.
It stopped. Whatever you did. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me see something. Yeah, I hear it still.
Okay. Let me. I don't want to. Want to. Let's see.
Yeah, you make sure you close all the apps. I used to do that all the time when I first started. I don't hear it now. Like right now, it sounds beautiful. Yeah, I heard. I heard it too. NH Mountain Girl. You dig? Let's see when he comes back, because it shouldn't have to be with the echo cancellation because um anytime I have a live, the echo cancellation is on and there's never a problem. So sometimes it be the Bluetooth sometimes. You'll see though. He's gonna pop back up. Let me see. That should be him right there. Okay. Okay, my brother.
Okay, test one, two.
All right. We good.
Okay,
We good.
okay,
And you sound so much clearer now.
okay. Right on. Yeah, it must have been my Bluetooth, my earpiece.
Yeah, it's all good. Shit happens. No
Right.
biggie.
Yeah.
So, four corner man, what I want you to do is tell the people who you are, where you from, and what you do.
Okay. I'm a Native American and I'm from the Navajo Nation on the New Mexico side, and I I exercise my rights, especially under the First Amendment, to keep our public officials transparent and accountable. Here in a small town in New Mexico called Farmington, New Mexico, and the reservation just resides right out of this town, and that's what my channel's all about. And so, if you guys don't know my channel, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys in chat already are subscribed to my channel and know what my channel is about. It's, that's why I started my channel, because I knew how bad this town was with the public officials, all the way up to the mayor, the chief, even the sheriff. So so that's pretty
It's
much it.
crazy
Yeah,
because you know um channels like yours, right? And just anybody fighting corruption in this day and age is so it's imperative, it's so necessary. Look at the I want to use the presidential situation for example. We have one president who has like I don't even know what 40 felony convictions in that area. He's been charged with I don't know how many more. And we have another. He's just despicable. He's a piece of shit, if you ask me. And we have another president, who's just he may not even be able to function well enough to run the country. And it's just we I never seen such dire straits in the history of America. So you're so, people like you are so needed now.
right. Yeah, these there shouldn't even be a president to run the the United States. It's more or less up to the people, independent. It's like what we
Hmm.
do. We're independent news media, and we gather public information for public interest. And the like I've been telling as Native American, this is pretty much nothing new to us. We've been through the struggle with genocide, and what happened in our history and our past. It's not really the well how we listen to what happened in our history of the Native Americans, especially the Navajos, is the stories that we were brought up with. It's taught within the family tree from our grandmothers, their great grandmothers. That's how the history is told. But when I grew up in the boarding school, we had history books, and that's just like they're teaching you something that's not true. They're feeding us the false information of history. Like
That's right.
Christopher Columbus coming over to discover America, and he gets credit for that. And that's why we were called Indians. He thought he was in India. So, yeah, this
Right.
is so. What actually happened on Thanksgiving is the the settlers on the East Coast, they massacred quite a few Native Americans on the East Coast, and
Mm.
that's what that Thanksgiving. That's what they're covering that up with the Thanksgiving. Like the East Coast Native Americans sat down at a table and they had a dinner and they had a good time, uh,
Hmm.
celebration and friendship, and that's a total lie in the history book. I grew up reading this, and like I said, they have programs in the boarding schools, and I played the Pilgrim and the Indian, and it's sad, the our own our own kind that teach in these schools. Our own people knew this was wrong, but they still went along with teaching us the false history of our own, what happened to the indigenous back then. I knew that they knew the real information about behind the history while they were, because there's teachers that were Navajos, and
Right.
I know that they knew that it was false information, but they were being paid to teach us the false
Mhm.
information anyways.
Right.
And I've got taste of boarding school life. I went to, my parents put me into a Baptist church. Me and my siblings there for about maybe 4 or 5 years,
Mhm.
and then back to the boarding school. The reason why we wanted to go back to the boarding school is because they didn't have no sports within the Baptist, the mission school.
Right.
So we kind of had to beg our parents. We want to play sports and we want to do the fun stuff. And it's
Mhm.
God is good. The Creator is good and all that. But
That's right.
it's just, yeah. So then the boarding schools. It's the way my father talks about it, and his fathers, the way they grew up. It's a history of how it was a pretty rough life. They're more or less like military setup, like camps is what they were. When I
Right.
went, it wasn't that bad, but it was still like a military, rules and stuff. You had to get up by a certain time. You had to be in bed by a certain time, and they
Mhm.
give you two blankets, fire blankets, and assign you a bed. They feed you. And it just reminded me when I was in jail. About 3 months ago. It's the
Mhm.
exact same thing in the system when I was in county. It reminded me of
Mhm.
boarding school. All that was missing was the education.
It's crazy, man. I try whenever I do an interview, I try not to interrupt the interviewee because I want the audience to get all the information, right? I just want to touch on something real quick. When you spoke on Christopher Columbus, it's funny you said that because I just watched the documentary of about how evil and wicked and bloodthirsty he was. He used to keep a diary with all types of sadistic shit and how he took pleasure in massacring Native American people and people in general. People in general. And he was it was one entry where he really was like he really took pleasure in releasing the trained dogs on his, whoever he wanted to release them on. But in this situation, it was the Native American people, and it's amazing that they call other people savages when really it was they who were the savages. My bad. Continue.
Right. Yeah. I hear you did some. You got deep into this Christopher Columbus. It's the first time I'm hearing how savage he was, and
Yeah.
pretty much the script is pretty much turned on us. That we're what they the definition they gave to us is the savage, and like we're the killers and the that that go and hurt and harm the people that came here, immigrants, and so. But it's the history, yeah. I'm still learning about it. My grandma never taught me any of this because she didn't want me. The reason why I talk about my grandma a lot is because she's the one that raised me, pretty much. Because my parents were good parents, but they had to go out off the reservation and find work, and they couldn't afford
Right.
to take me at times, and so they left me behind with my grandmother, and my grandmother was a strong, independent woman, and that's how a lot of people say I'm humble, and that's where I learned it from.
Mm-hmm.
From my grandmother, and she was illiterate, so the only
Wow.
word that she would know is yes and no, and
Mm.
so I had no choice but to speak the language. And so I'm glad I know my language because right now in this day and age, pretty much everybody at my age and younger, they're not speaking the language no more. It's pretty much
Wow.
English, and it's kind of a scary thing. I think hopefully we can bring it back. About maybe 20 years ago, they started bringing it back into the boarding schools. Teaching
Good.
Navajo class. Yeah, so I kind of took in eighth grade. I remember they brought it back. So when I went into high school, that's they started bringing it back into high school too. So
Right.
and then after you graduate on the reservation where I'm from, it only went up to eighth grade. So there was no high school out there. The closest high school was about an hour away. So we
That's
had to
crazy.
yeah, we had to take an hour bus ride just to get to high school, and
You know
it
what's
was one.
crazy? They're I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Oh no, you're good.
you got to take an hour to get to a place that teaches you fucking lies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And what I was talking about earlier with the Christopher Columbus, that was directly from his diary. They took excerpts from his diary, so those were his words I was speaking.
Yeah, I believe you. You know, this
He
is
was bloodthirsty.
yeah. It's just like the Navajos. The government got one of the soldiers. His name was Kit Carson, and what they him and the soldiers did is they gathered. It was a pretty much a bloodbath against. There's a place called Canyon de Chelly in Arizona where they
Hmm.
knew a lot of Native Navajos went down and just to hide from the government, and they trapped them down there. And so the soldiers came up from the top and gunned away and all that down in the canyon, and they slaughtered what we the livestock that the Navajos really valued was the sheep, and to this day, the sheep is what we lived off of. So I grew up eating mutton, and that was the main dish that was always because we don't have no refrigerator, so you would be herding around your food. So if you needed to come to the point where
Mm,
it comes to time to have a good meal, you there the time to have good, which is good. There was nowadays you gotta you can get good mutton, but it's not the same as it was back in the days because when I grew up, my grandma had her sheep grazing the wild grass, and now
right.
the government is limiting the Navajos a certain amount of animals they can have on their land too. So
It's
it's,
crazy.
now they're feeding them inside and feeding them oats and hay, and it doesn't taste the same no more. It's good, but the
Right.
taste is different. They're
Hmm.
corralled all day, and so just the same thing. Like I think with an elk, you go elk hunting, and the game is good. They eat the wild grass and out there when they're eating, and you can taste it in the meat. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Well, do you know there was a guy by the name of Kit Carson, and the government went and had him round up the Navajos, and they call it the Long Walk. I think it was called Bosque Redondo. Was down by the Rio Grande, down by Texas. They what we call it in Navajo is prison. Uh, Awalia is how you say prison, and my great great grandmother survived that, and that's why I'm here. And what the
Amen.
government did is they gathered all the Navajos together, and it didn't matter. They didn't care how old they are, how young they were. They forced them to do this walk all the way from. I'm where we're located is in the Four Corners area, pretty much. Navajo Reservation resides in New Mexico, mostly in Arizona, a bit of Utah, and Colorado. So from this
Right.
area, they herd us down there, and then the old that were weak, they left them behind to die, and the kids that got sick on the way, they didn't care. So
That's
if you
crazy.
couldn't walk or you couldn't if you got sick and they left you behind, and that was it for. And it was yeah, it's pretty sad what happened to our people when that happened when the government rounded us up and did that's why they call it the long walk.
The long
And
walk. Man, I'm gonna look into that when I get up out of here.
yeah, there's stories about the people, the great great grandmothers. I think there's documentaries on just not the Navajos. There's a bunch of different tribes that went through all this genocide, and it's I watch some of these. It angers me, and it's like
Yeah.
I have to, you know, when I bring up these type of topics, I know it angers
Hmm.
other people, which I don't want to do.
Yeah.
But
No,
now,
that you got to. You
yeah,
got
but I
to.
I taught myself, I'm not here to rub it in. I'm here to acknowledge it because
That's right.
it happened. And it happened, so what can we do? But all we can do is
That's
acknowledge
right.
it. We can't, retaliate or, like, you can't let it hold it in your heart and just be angry for the rest of your life of what
Right.
happened to you.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
gotta we gotta create change and make sure shit like that don't happen no more. Name some of the name some of the tribes.
Oh, that's here in New Mexico. There's pretty much the pueblos. There's quite a few pueblos. San Felipe's. These are pueblos that I'm naming. Zia
Hmm.
and Hickory is Apache. Mescalero's
Hmm.
Apache. White Mountain's Apache. And it's Hopis. There's Hopi tribe. These are just the tribes that are located around the Navajo Nation.
Right.
Uh, yeah, there's San Felipe, Sante Delfonso, and a lot of these the smaller tribes. So when the Catholics came over, their traditions were like intermixed with the Spanish, and
Mm.
their traditions kind of intermixed with the Spanish. So it's like half tradition and half Spanish, and yeah, so
Wow. It got diluted.
yeah, yes. Even where I live, there's me and my dad, we kind of know that we probably got some Mexican blood in us, the Spanish, because there's a lot of people on the reservation where I reside. And Genuine Sterling is my father, and he's got his own channel. He's a Navajo silversmither, and a lot of
Okay.
people's last names are Herrera, Sandoval, Dominguez, Martinez,
Right. Right.
Costello. Yeah. So we know that we're kind of intermixed, but we still our CIB. They call it CIB, Certificate of Indian Blood. It still says that we're
Mm.
100% Navajo. Yeah.
So
So
what are the some of the what are the bigger nations?
I think
Name
the
some of the
Navajo.
bigger.
Well, up in there's quite a few up in Canada right now. There's you got Sioux, but in the Midwest, you got South. There used to be a lot over in California, a lot over in the East Coast.
Hmm.
There's so many, and you got the Crow up in Montana. They
Hmm.
reside in Montana and Canada. I told you about the Snotty Nose Reds kids. They're actually from Canada, and they're a
Okay.
hip hop group. And
Right.
I
Right.
don't know if you ever heard of Russell Means. He was he was Sioux Lakota Sioux, and they call it AIM, American Indian Movement, and they created the AIM because the government, the way they were treating the Native Americans, so they they try to fight back, but they brought the military in. You ever heard of Wounded Knee?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
that's where Leonard Peltier, yeah, he
The
got accused
Battle
of,
of Wounded Knee. That's what
right,
I heard. The battle.
yeah, in the massacre of Wounded Knee, and you got
Yes,
Porcupine
Mansfield.
Ridge.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, there's tribes everywhere. There's tribes everywhere. There's even reservations as small as I've heard. There's reservations that even just small to where they're fenced off in a maybe 4 blocks in
Yeah, they
certain
got them in
states.
New York. They got them on Long Island. A lot of them are on Long Island and
Yeah,
upstate New York, like in
yeah,
Buffalo. Like just in the upper regions of New York. A
yeah.
lot of these reservations have what do you call them? Where I'm from, I don't know about anywhere else, but out here they have casinos and
Oh, yes, yeah.
tobacco. Casinos and tobacco is prevalent.
Yeah, see, there's a Apache tribe down here. The smaller tribes, they can afford to run these casinos to profit their little tribe, and I know that they can profit. Their leaders learn how to profit off these casinos with the tourists that come in. It attracts a lot of tourists, and probably every three months, they would get a check, a tribal check, because of these casinos that they profit off of for with a lot of these. people that come from out of state that realize that these casinos and these on these Apache reservations, like I said, that these Apache reservations, they're small enough to where these casinos they can afford to give profit off to where each individual gets a check, even every child. So I think there's
Right.
like maybe 300 or 400 per child.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
but on the
crazy how corrupt.
Yeah, but on the Navajo reservation, they say, yeah, we're part owner, but everybody thinks that since we have a reservation, a casino on the Navajo reservations, they think that we got money, but it's not true. It's a it's a big shot out of Texas or California that buys the land, and they're the one that's making the money, and
Right.
all we're doing is just in there, sweeping the floors, cleaning bathrooms, and
Right.
that's the only money that we make is the hourly money. But everybody thinks that we got money off the casino on the Navajo Nation. It's not possible. We're too big.
Right.
I think we're the biggest nation in the United
Right.
States. If I'm not mistaken, I think we might be the second. But
Okay.
we're one of the top two largest nations.
What would be
So
the other one?
I'm not really sure right now. I forgot who they
Cherokee,
were.
Apache.
Apaches, they're smaller. They're smaller.
Okay.
There's three different tribes. There's one in Arizona. They're White Mountain Apache. Then you got
Okay.
the one south in New Mexico. That's Mescalero Apache. Then you got
Mm-hmm.
one here about an hour east of here. That's Jicarilla Apache. So you got
Right.
three different tribes of Apache. See this my icon there? That's Geronimo on your furthest right,
Right.
and three of his warriors. On this photo was taken when they told him to give up, you know, his weapons, and they'll take care of him. Which they lied to him. They imprisoned him. That was
Yeah.
so
Yes.
him and his three warriors there. They gave up their weapons and surrendered. And what they did
Yeah.
is they put him in prison. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they paraded him at these local circuses, and he
Yeah.
made money off of making bows, and they're just.
Yeah.
But
I
the
watched.
Apache,
I just watched the documentary on him, like the last time. Because he escaped more than once.
oh yeah, that's
He
what he.
Yeah, I watched the documentary on the last one though when he rounded up a bunch. They were on a train. They were taking them to like jail or a reservation or whatever they were going to do with them. And
Yeah,
he rounded up a bunch of people off the train, and then they escaped. And he knew the land so well; it was hard for them, the Europeans, to keep up with him. So they had other Indians as guides. You know what I'm saying? And man, he was. I have so much respect for him. So much. He was a
yeah.
great
So
person.
they used to be Navajos. They used to be Navajos. They're distant cousins, is what they are. So, but
Right.
they're the ones that wanted to resist, and so resist against the government. That's why they're Geronimo is known as one of the fearless warriors.
Yes.
He was pretty knowledgeable of the land and know how to you know avoid the
Mm-hmm.
government, and
Yup.
and
Yup.
so yeah, he's a pretty known icon in the Native American history. And it's Sitting
He
Bull.
is.
Then you got a Crazy Horse. And
Mm-hmm.
these guys are all chiefs for a reason because they had knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes,
And what the government tried to do is they tried to play on the fact that a lot of the natives, they wanted an end to the war, because they're losing loved ones and relatives and so on and so forth. Then you have a certain percentage of the natives that were every group of people has their evil people in it. You know what I'm saying? So some of them uh, betrayed their own people and went with the Europeans, and it was just a big it was genocide. And what they did was they promised him they were going to give them fertile land, and when they, like you said, when everything is said and done, they just they just don't give shit at the end
broken
of the day.
trees.
Even if
yeah, we were
Yeah,
talking about the broken treaties. You know,
yeah.
they made a they signed a paper saying that this is, this, you guys will be, this land belongs to you guys. But they,
Hmm.
even though they signed a paper, they
They
broke the
renege.
treaties. They broke
Yeah.
the treaties. So,
Hmm.
well, they were lied
They
to
tell them
from the start.
they tell them, yo, we're gonna give you land that's fertile with running clean water and good for crops, and there's plenty of animals and livestock. And what they did was they gave them, land that's uninhabitable, no water, fucking just no good, just no good. And they do it all the time, all the time. It just I could go on for days at how disgusting the governments of the world are. Not just
Yeah,
America, but the governments of the world.
right. Then another genocidal system they use is kill the Indian, save the man. That's
Right,
so that's why they put us there. So they started boarding schools. They wanted us to lose our
right.
language, which is kind of happening to this day. Like I was telling you earlier,
Hmm.
the younger generations, they're losing the language, and it's barely hanging on. Hopefully, we can bring it back. And so it's, I know we can. We just gotta start, teaching the young ones. We have to go back to our old ways. So, but this like what we're talking about the system for the Native Americans is, it was built for us to fail, and now that
Absolutely.
now it's happening to the rest of the Americans because the Constitution was actually it's actually Indian law, because the Iroquois Confederacy was input into the Constitution of the United States. The
Mm,
Iroquois Confederacy, when the first settlers came over, they were bickering and fighting amongst each other, and they seen the
right,
Iroquois not doing that. And then they asked the Iroquois,
right.
"Can you help us with our problems here?" And the
Hmm.
Iroquois told them, we don't want to get in the middle of your fights and your feuds, but here you go. This is the system that we use. It's called, the
Hmm.
Iroquois Confederacy. So that was
Wow, I
given to
never knew
them.
that.
Yeah. So the Iroquois Confederacy, I forgot what year it was. It was input into the Constitution, and it was a great thank you to the Iroquois for helping out the Constitution with the Iroquois Confederacy, and that's what. Then, if you do watch the documentary of, you can learn all about this. It's called Russell Means. The Constitution is Indian law, and if you
You
want to
never
write
hear
that down,
about that in schools in America. Never. I
oh,
never heard
definitely,
about that.
because the government wants to take all the credit. They don't want to let the people, especially in the United States, know where these policies and procedures came from. They put us on reservations, and these reservations are prison camps. They all each got numbers. So to this
Right,
day, I know that I'm still a prisoner of war. So,
right.
yeah.
This is amazing. Amazing, man.
So,
All the lies.
mhm. So now, since the Constitution is Indian law, and these policies and procedures were born, bred on and raised on a reservation. So
Right.
now it comes back on the backs of the Americans. Like Russell Means said, we're not trying to be wise guys as Native Americans now. That
Hmm.
now the Americans are the new Indians, and look at how the everybody's being treated in the United States.
That's a fact.
Yeah, so that's
That's a fact.
there's now the United States is the largest reservation in the world.
Yeah, it's the poor Americans are the new Native American Indians. That's a
Right,
fact.
right there. At the moment, pretty soon it's going to be each and every one of us. Well, no,
Crazy.
so we,
Crazy.
like I said, that we've been through it. We've been there. Our, the children and the ladies being raped and killed, and kids,
Right.
you know, um, Catholics having it's gruesome to where they're having the priests having, you know, sex with a young girl, and they impregnate
Yeah.
her. The priest doesn't want that baby, so they throw it into. There's stories about these, you know, and they when this young girl, this Native American girl, had her baby because this priest wouldn't rape her. They went and threw that
Right.
baby. They threw that baby into the kiln, into a fire, and the way they described the way it sounded when it went into
Wow.
the
That is
it's
just
terrible.
terrible.
Yeah.
Despicable.
Then you got boarding schools that got Native Americans that they're still young kids that they're finding bones, and you know that they buried in back of these boarding schools in the yards. So a lot of stuff that they're not getting out to the public that that's being covered still to this day. So
Angel said Russell Means was in the last of the Mohicans.
he might have been. I'm not sure, but I just know that he was one of the main guys of the A movement, American Indian movement, and that
Right.
guy's pretty knowledgeable. Once you see a few of his documentaries, it'll open your eyes.
You know what I'm gonna do? Four corner. After what I want to do a part two to this because I want to go watch a few documentaries and then I want to come back and have a dialogue with you. You know
Right?
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. This is something that I've always been interested in. When I was a little kid, I'm talking about, I mean, since I have a memory, my mother had bought me a set of books. It was a Time Life book set. And I'll never forget it. The covers were made of leather. And it was about the Native Americans and the West and the cowboys and just the history. So ever since I'm 5, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, I already had been intrigued by this type of stuff. You know,
Yeah.
so it's something I've always been interested in.
Yeah. So that's why I know my grandmother. My parents never really said anything to, especially me and my siblings, because they don't want us to have hate in our heart about genocide. And I'm glad that they didn't push us. They didn't teach us how to, what actually happened. And I knew that they probably knew that we were going to find out one way or another, but they didn't want us to grow up being angry about what happened to our people. So and if I would have, the way my parents, if they would have taught me this, I would have probably taken it a different way, and I would have probably been one of those that wouldn't let it go, and you know keep it in the back of my mind. And every person that I see that's not Native American, I'd probably be pretty upset and let them have it. But really, so it comes back to our teachings as Native Americans. You don't see a person. You always, when you see a person, you got to see their heart and use your heart to see their heart. That's what it comes back
Right,
down to. So
right.
yeah, so yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna watch.
the Navajo
You
tradition
know,
is
you know what I'm
it's
gonna do too. Four corner. I'm gonna go back and watch that documentary on uh Christopher Columbus's diary. You know what I'm saying? They
right.
published his diary, but this was a documentary on the publishings of his diary. He was a bloodthirsty, sadistic person, and Giuliani's a piece of shit. He um he made a statement that Christopher Columbus was good to the native people, and he was great for America, and all this real uh prejudice, just jargon. You know what I'm saying? It's a bunch of stupidity, racist stupidity. And I'm gonna go back and watch that documentary too, so we could discuss that a little more too the next time I see you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and because I've
I'll send
I've
you the
watched
link.
all this.
I'll send you the link.
Right on. It sounds better, yeah, because it sounds like he kind of got deep into, and I didn't know how bad he was. I just knew
Yeah,
um, uh,
he was a
what they
crazy
said in
maniac.
in
They
the
used to
history books that
train. They used to train dogs. The Spaniards would train dogs and the Europeans to attack, their enemies. And he used to take joy in seeing them tear people up. You know what I'm saying? And anybody knows like a dog, and these are like, I forgot the type of dog, but it was I mean, dogs big enough to kill you. We'll put it like that. You know what I'm saying? And to a dog against a human being, man, that's ain't too many humans gonna survive that shit. Dogs are they're no joke. They kill you easily, especially a pack of them on you. So yeah, man, he was a sick dude.
yeah, and he's Russell Means. He's got a few sons, and but one of his sons is he's a hip hop artist. His name is Natwani Means, and his Russell Means, his wife is Navajo. She's from here, and Russell Means himself, he's a Lakota Sioux.
I'm gonna
So
look into him too. That's
yeah,
I'll check out Russell Means. I looked at that thing you sent me too, the video with the guy with the song, the little short.
oh, Mad Matt, or something like that. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
that
yes.
guy, that kid is blind, and
Is he?
yeah, he's. I don't know if he was just born like that. It seems like it, but it's just he can't see, and I'm surprised that he's
Wow,
a hip hop artist and sings about actual the truth about
that
the
song is
reservation.
dope. That song is a remake of an old Akon song called "The Ghetto."
Really, I did not know that.
Yes.
There's 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 a there's a whole lot of Native American hip hop artists out there that that sound pretty good. I think the
I'm
top one
sure.
is Snotty Nose Riz Kids. They're from Canada and they've been hitting the charts lately. And Russell Means, that's Ani Means. He, he's he kind of his the way he his hip hop style is more just the way he his it's like his dad, like Russell Means. He's like
Mm-hmm.
against the government and the way he you know comes about his bars and stuff like that in his hip hop uh, music. So that is
Yeah.
but it's just yeah, that's interesting. Even me, like you said, I didn't know how bad Christopher Columbus was, and you
Yeah.
could send me that link, and
I
so
am. I am definitely gonna send you that link. What I'm gonna do is I want to wrap it up because I wanted to make it 45 minutes. So
right,
I want a lot of people to watch it. When usually when they're 2 hours, 3 hours, stuff like that, less people watch it. I noticed. You know what I'm saying? So I want people to watch this, and we'll do a part two in about a month.
yeah. Did you know that?
Sound good?
Yeah. Did you know that the U.S. military was defeated? The U.S. military was defeated by the Lakota Sioux. The only tribe that beat actually defeated the U.S. military, and that's the reason why Wounded Knee came about.
Mm.
Yeah,
No,
so
I didn't, man. I love to learn about stuff like that. And mind you, this is he's talking about people that didn't have the firepower that the American government had. You know what I'm saying? And man, to do something like that just shows you, when you believe in something, you can make it happen. You know,
right,
shout to them for even doing something like that.
yeah. But yes, it's like I said, interesting. A lot of interesting. We just gotta teach ourselves and learn from one another, and it comes down to. I know you, Dub. You 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 say a lot of positive stuff, and on your channel you keep it positive, and everything pretty much comes from your heart. And the way you were
Hmm.
raised, I know you had it rough there
Hmm.
at the time you were growing up, and I can just tell the way you come across the people in your channel. Even me, it's when you come across me, you're very respectful. to another person. You can just see it. I can see your heart. The way you're, just the way you carry yourself. So
Thank you, brother. It's from the heart, man. I really do care about people and especially the people I'm in contact with. You know what I'm saying? I
right,
love my brothers and sisters. Period.
yeah,
Period.
yeah. So
Thank you for coming, my brother. I couldn't thank
right
you
on, no
enough.
problem. I appreciate you. It's an honor to come up here and be your first guest up on your new channel.
It was a pleasure to have you. I'll be in touch with you. I'm gonna
Yeah,
send you some links.
right on. Sounds good. I just want to
Part
thank
two in
everybody
about a
that.
month, y'all.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody that's in the live. Don, Angel, New York native, Bobby Ramos,
Absolutely.
Ariel, Westside
Yep.
Accountability. Appreciate you
Yep.
guys joining. Yeah, share this out. Let's get G Dub
That's right.
Twins and channel to grow, and let's talk about uh, let's have this. It's just not about Native Americans. It's about everybody's backgrounds. This is just
That's
one to
right.
need to learn about each other and how to come together and resolve situations, and this helps to everybody needs to understand the real truth about history, and it's just not about Native Americans. If you got culture, you have values. It comes back to that. So
That's a fact.
yeah.
That's a
All right,
fact.
Dove.
God bless you. God bless you,
You
my
have a
brother.
good
Thank
day.
you.
Everybody in the chat, back at you, and you guys all have a good evening. We'll keep
You
in
too, my
touch, guys.
brother. God bless.
Back to you. Thank you.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Dawn, I love you. I love you all. Ariel, everybody that came through, man. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Westside Accountability, I see you. Everybody, Angel, Money 420, everybody, Northwoods, everybody that came through from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate you guys. Really do, bro. I can't. Scrubzilla, thank you for coming, brother. I'll catch you guys later.